Hi guys, at the end of the last video I had some kind of dummy code in there which would turn on the lights in the windows in a kind of a random fashion, but what I wanted to do next was to start actually putting something in there. So the first thing that I was looking at was putting actual faces in there, and I was looking for something that I could put in there. So this is kind of a selection of the kind of things that I found online. But the main problem that I had with all of these, I think a lot of these are AI generated. This one certainly is. Um, I think that one has been hand drawn by somebody. This one was the only one that showed anything kind of resembling emotions. Is that all of them? This one kind of was like a GIF kind of showing you how to do different types of emotions. So I thought, oh, maybe I could do my own pixel art. And I just kind of got myself completely lost with this. I had picked some of these and I thought, right, okay, I'll just pick one of these to start with. And then as I started looking into it last week, the main problem that I had was that they just didn't really show the kind of range of emotions that I wanted. I mean, this one could kind of be like anger, um, that one is maybe surprise, but it's not really what I wanted. And I was looking into all sorts of ways of doing this. I started looking at AI generation tools, face like portrait generators, and all sorts of kind of things, and I just couldn't find anything. So in the end, what I decided to do instead was go with emojis instead, because I thought that we've already got graphics to signify different kinds of emotions for different things. And then they'll fit in the windows quite nicely. And then what I could do is change the game concept so that it's kind of like a dream. And the people are in their houses and they're having dreams. And every time they have a dream, the light comes on and it's not really a light, but it's just kind of, it's showing you like a visual representation of what's going on in there. So what I've got going on now is every few seconds, I think I've set it to like 3 seconds. Obviously, I'm going to change the timings as I fiddle around with this. A new one is going to be randomly populated somewhere throughout the city. And then each dream lasts anywhere at the moment between 15 and 30 seconds. So at the moment, I don't have any kind of collision detection. So, I can do this. Obviously, I'm going to suck at the game just like I did with Pong. Oh, there you go. I would have hit that one. I was aiming for that one. Um, so yeah, I'm going to suck at this game, just like the other ones. My Pong game. There we go. I probably would have hit the yellow one. So I don't have any collision detection in there yet. But this is the basic concept. So I've got 6 different emotions in there. My cat's being cute. So this one is fear. This is pain. This is sadness. This is anger. The green one said the yellow one is anxiety, and the green one I cannot remember. I'll probably remember it when it pops back up. So the next stage of this now, there's actually 2 things. So what I want to do is, at the moment, the orb, if I just move that down here, the orb is green. I just found a sprite and used it. But what I really want to do is to have the orb also change color. Oh, green is frustration. That was what it is. And just to make it confusing, it's not going to be that the color matches. I want to do it so that the color of the orb has to be kind of like the inverse of the color of the dream. I'm going to have to test it and see if it works. So I'm going to need a way of the user changing the orb. So I'll probably just have it so that the arrow key cycles through, and I can probably use the space kind of in the top left corner of the screen to put some kind of indicator of what sort of orb you're on. So you've also got to, first of all, you've got to try and, aim the ball at the right place. But then I keep calling it a ball, it's an orb. But then you've also got to pick the right one. So it's kind of like 2 elements to it. You've got kind of like that puzzle element and then the aiming type element for it. You can probably go through the whole game just on this one angle. That's a bit shit, really, isn't it? Hang on, can I get to that top one? Yeah. And then, of course, I'm going to have to do the collision detection, and then I'm going to have to figure out how does like scoring work? You know, is there going to be like a win condition, a lose condition? I haven't quite figured all of that out yet, but I'm quite pleased with how this looks. I think that works quite well. And what I'm going to do is, I'd said before that I'm going to do 3 levels. So, oh yeah, let me show you also how I've done this in code. So I decided to use the JSON thing again. So I've literally defined 6 different emotions. So the name of the texture just happens to be the same as the name, because I named all these accordingly just to make it easy. And then it defines a color which is used for the background of the window. And then the same thing as before, I've created a data class. No, not that one. Nightmare data. So this data class is what is, what's the word I'm looking for? The JSON reads into. So where I load them, where are they loaded? Where are they loaded? Oh, here. So yeah, very, very simple. Again, it's just a couple of lines of code to read in that data from the JSON class. It just populates it directly into there. And then I've got the nightmare. So the way this is, you've got the JSON class, which defines them. Then you've got a data class to read in the JSON. And then you've got an actual game class, which takes the data and it instantiates the actual nightmare from that. So of course, you know, the color, this is just an array of integers, and I want to store that as an actual color, as in the MonoGame color object. The soothe color is its inverse. I'm not using that yet, but that's what I want to do next time. And then so this is done the same way as I did the buildings. So I think it's quite neat. I'm really liking using this JSON data to kind of define game data. So yeah, so the next stage of this is going to be doing either some collision detection or selection of the orb. But I'm pretty pleased with how it's going so far. So now I've got the color select indicator on the orb. I've got it on the actual cannon itself, and then I've got it also up here, though I'm not even sure that's really necessary. So what you do is you just use the arrow keys to sort of cycle through up and down. And I tried doing the inverse colors and it just didn't work. So what I've done instead was I changed my initial sprite into a grayscale, and then I lightened it up because it was too dark. And then what I've done is I've just taken the color that was defined for the actual, I'm calling them nightmares, like different types of nightmares, and then I just apply that to the grayscale orb. So the idea then is that you've just got to pick the right one. I probably will still leave that up there, and I might give it a name. I don't know. But it is fairly self-explanatory now what to do, you know. So if I was trying to do this, I'd be trying to hit the green one. Of course I missed. So here you'd want to get like that purple one. Missed. So yeah, the next thing to do then is the actual collision detection. So once you hit one, it should obviously go away, the dream stops, and I want some kind of indication. So I found, you know, I thought I'll just use the same emojis. So I thought what I would do here is have 2 emojis. Basically, if you get the right one, you get a nice yay happy smile. But I think I'm still going to give the player points even if they do the wrong one, because they're still sending them something nice. You know, the idea is that these are magical orbs of joy or whatever. So they'll probably just get less points for it. But then what I want to have is, oh, where's it gone? Is to have that emoji come up or something like that. So you can visually see, it's not just, oh, the nightmare goes away. You kind of like visually see, you know, oh yeah, you got happy smiling face now. And I should probably start thinking about adding some sound effects at some point, because I think that can enhance the game quite a bit. Right, I have something that is actually starting to look playable now. So if I load up the game now, we've got a score up the top there. So now at this point, what I've done is, if you get the right color, oh my god, you get 100 points. If you get the wrong color but still hit it, you get 10 points. Obviously, if you don't hit it, you don't get anything. Now, one thing I've noticed is that I'm Now, did you see that? That pretty much hit, but it didn't register a collision. I think I know why that is. But what I've noticed is that I'm just kind of looking at the cannon. I'm not really taking any notice of the ball selector thing that's in the top left. But you know what? It's actually quite easy to play. So, oh, yeah. So it's quite easy when they're low down, which is kind of the idea, right? Now, I think I've got a collision bug. So if I aim for this one right over here and I go fast. Oh, it did hit it. I have a feeling that no, okay. So I think that there is a bug with the collision where if you've got like the maximum speed, it might move so far in a single hit, like in a single frame, that it misses the collision out. I'm not sure, but it seems to be working quite well at the moment. So I would say at this point I've got something which is playable now. And so the next stage is to decide how, what next? How do I win? How do I lose? How do I move to the next level? Am I going to have it like timer based? I haven't figured that stuff out yet. But at this point, it's kind of playable, and this is a lot more fun to play for me than Pong was. So it's actually kind of cute. I've definitely enjoyed this project much more than I have the Pong game so far, and I found it so much easier to do and so much faster to do. I think it's just kind of clicked. So I think this is more complicated than Pong was, and yet it's been just so much easier. So yeah, the next part is going to be then, I've got the basic mechanics down. So it's then, oh, see, that didn't hit, but that one did. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't quite hit, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, it's now trying to turn it into an actual game with a little bit more polish. At this point, seeing as it's now in a playable state, I thought it'd be a good time to put an upload, or download, sorry, on the itch page. So this link, the itch page, is linked in the video description, and then there is a download button here, which just gives you a zip file. You simply unzip it and run the executable. It is a little bit small, which is weird. So if you feel like trying it out, that's great. Let me know if you have any problems. By all means, give me your feedback, and then obviously as I go forward now, I'll be adding finishing touches, polish to it, and so forth, and I'll keep updating the download. And of course, if you did want to refer to the source code, that's all on here as well, the links for that. Okay, so that is the end of this video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.